family. Welcome to another episode or another video of Feel Free TV. I have my friend right here, Kymesia.
Hi.
So, once again, just to reiterate what Feel Free TV is about, it's about giving the formerly incarcerated a platform to speak about their experiences, their trials and tribulations during incarceration, after incarceration, what led up to their incarceration. Also, it's about seeing how incarceration affects family members. So Kymesia has never been incarcerated, but her mother was incarcerated. And this is rare that we get to interview someone and see how they were affected by having a parent incarcerated. Okay, now I'd like to thank you for doing this interview.
You're
I
welcome.
really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Kymesia, just tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, I'm Kymesia. I'm 34. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. Bed-Stuy, do or die. Lafayette Gardens. I was born in the 80s, 85, where like crack epidemic was like, on the rise. So I've seen a lot of people get addicted to drugs and all this other stuff. So I was raised by my grandma in the projects with my little sister. And I went to a private school all my life because my grandmother wanted the best for her grandkids. And yeah, that pretty much was it. And I grew up in like a hard knock life.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was your mother that got incarcerated.
Yes.
Do you want to speak about like why she got incarcerated?
Sure. So my mom was addicted to drugs, obviously, majority of my life. So she was addicted to crack cocaine, and she was a drug dealer as well. And she was involved with this man who was very abusive and also a / drug dealer, but my mom was like really the main one, queen pin. So my mom got arrested in 1997, September of 1997. It was actually 3 days before my 12th birthday. So what happened is that she was, they did a raid at wherever she was staying at with the guy, and the cops just took her into Rikers Island, and she got sentenced and moved to Bedford Hills.
Okay. So like, how did you feel like when you first found out your mother got locked up?
I mean, I kind of like knew something like that was going to happen to her, the whole lifestyle she was in. So it was going to happen sooner or later. But to hear her on the phone saying, I'm locked up, it was kind of like, wow, that's a lot.
So, like, okay, before she got incarcerated, did you see, I'm quite sure you did see things that was incriminating. But like, how did you like react to seeing your mother do these type of things that you knew that was illegal?
I mean, my mom never like did her drugs in front of me and my sister. She took us out shopping. She took us to like toy stores, whatever, and she had like a ton of money in her hand. And we were like, where did you get all this money from? And we're just like, you don't have a legit job.
Yeah.
So, I mean, did different things. Like, she would sleep all day and,
Okay. So, okay. So, how did you feel? What was your first experience when you went to go visit your mother in, you said Bedford Hills? Now, Bedford Hills is a correctional facility upstate New York for women. I think Bedford Hills might be the maximum security prison.
It is.
I think they only have really 2 prisons upstate, and Bedford Hills would be the maximum security prison. So how was your experience visiting your mother at Bedford Hills? Give us a
My experience was very horrible. My grandmother took me and my sister up. It definitely was a winter time, and we drove up. It was long as hell. I remember walking into this jail, and it was like isolated. Bedford Hills like is on its own little area, and I walked in, and they like searched me, patted me down very inappropriately, and I just thought it was kind of like weird.
And he was like 12 or 13?
Yeah, I was 12 or 13, and they were patting me on my, like, in my private parts. Like, I never got patted down before, ever.
So, was it men patting you down?
No, it was women.
It was women?
Yeah,
but they
but
were like,
still,
they
it
were
was
still
very,
like
yeah.
evasive.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
like they were actually like
Yeah.
touching
me. Like, they were touching my breasts. They were touching my you know, area, private parts. They were like filling up all on me, and I was just like, this is not cool.
Yeah.
Like, you treat me as if I'm a criminal, and I'm trying to just visit my mom.
Yeah.
You know.
Wow. So it's like, okay, that's. And was that the only time you ever went through that?
Yeah, well, with that situation, hell yeah. Yeah, that was like the worst thing. I was crying there at my grandmother's store, and I told my grandmother, I was like, I never want to come here ever again. Like, I never want to do this. It was horrible.
They traumatized you, actually. And
yeah.
The sad thing is that, okay, your mother is incarcerated, but you also want to try to keep the family at least some kind of way together.
Right.
The family relations, because prison breaks family relations.
Right.
So the important part of the visit is to try to keep that relation going, where you're able to see them, and for them to deter you, a child, from not wanting to go see their mother. That's and a lot of times they do that on purpose. That's the thing. That's the other thing. A lot of times that's on purpose.
I didn't know that.
So, like, because I know you also have a sibling, like, do you know how it probably affected?
Oh, she doesn't remember that.
Oh, she doesn't
remember.
She was younger.
Yeah, she was like 7, so she doesn't really remember that experience. I remember it very clearly. You know, it was crazy.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so like, what about your, like, how did you, like, because being locked up in society today, being locked up is like a blemish. It's like, you know, something bad on your record. Like, how did you, like, tell your friends, like, did anybody, like, ask, like, where's your mom at? Or did you ever have to, something ever had to come up in school?
No, I never had to tell my mom. I never had to tell anybody about my mom's situation because my grandmother raised me.
Okay.
You know, I was like, you know, she comes and goes, she lives on her own. Like, I never really had to, you know, tell people about her situation. I mean, the only thing that I would be kind of like, I'd be embarrassed or about was like if my grandmother, she was working, if me and my sister were sick and we had to leave school early, my mom would have to come pick us up from school. And like, I would be like, oh my God, she's coming up here to pick me up. And her outfits was like crazy.
Yeah.
She looked like she was like homeless. And I'd be so embarrassed in my class. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. She would smell and look cray, and I was just like, oh my God, I'd rather just
come up to school and everyone's
looking.
and
she had to come to class to get a t-shirt to pick me up. I couldn't just go downstairs to the office. So you know.
So that's really embarrassing.
It was.
Do you think did kids tease you about that? Because you know kids are like harsh.
I mean, I think they felt sorry for me.
Okay.
I never heard anybody make fun of me to my face. I think they just felt sorry for my situation.
Why do you think it's important for children to have a prison visit experience? Like, why do you think that's important?
I think it's important because you should still support your family members. You know, they did a mistake, but you should have that bond and that connection with your family members. So I think that every child should, you know, visit them. But I don't think that they should do the whole the whole search situation. I don't think they should do that. I think that's a little cray. Like adults, yes. But children, no.
And I think I was speaking to you before about why they do that sometimes. Because I think, like, to an extent, I can understand why they shouldn't be putting kids through that.
Right.
But I also realize that sometimes people will sneak things in.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been times where people we know, when I was incarcerated, that they would like sneak things into like the baby's diapers. They would have like drugs or weapons inside their baby's diapers. Now, these are people who are putting their children at risk and the female at risk. Because what's going to happen is is that the female is going to get incarcerated and that child is going to go to child services.
Wow. That's stupid.
So now you're really destroying a family.
Yeah.
It's bad enough that the man is locked up somewhere way in the boondocks, but now the woman, the mother, and the child is going to be separated.
Right. Right.
And a lot of individuals do that. But then once again, there's another flip side is that they want to deter people from coming to see you. They have no respect for the prisoners, and they will treat the prisoner's family just like a prisoner. I see it all the time. Like they'll disrespect your family members, your friends that come see you, and treat them bad, as if they're the ones that's incarcerated.
That's crazy. They need a new system.
So let's talk about what you're doing now.
What I'm doing now?
Yes. Because all this has had an effect on you. Having a mother that's incarcerated. So what positive effect has this had on you? Your mother being incarcerated?
Positive. It made me my eyes open more about the whole prison system and the injustice that Black African American women and men are suffering from. But also it helped me to want to help out my community even more, especially with the drug whole situation. Opioids is a huge thing that's happening now, and it's just sad that African Americans are suffering. So I wanted to become a drug counselor and help people who live in the South, i.e. like Virginia or Baltimore, who don't have the resources or help as New Yorkers do, and just try to be like there for them, open a rehabilitation center for them, have my mom come speak to them, or just being a ally for them, let them know that I never did drugs, but I know how it is to love a person who did do drugs and experience that whole situation with them.
So you're in college now.
I am.
So what is your major?
My major is criminal justice. I don't want to become a cop or a correction officer or a parole officer. I don't want to be no type of officer. But I do want to help out the people who are suffering from injustice in the prison system and even with drugs.
And I think that's wonderful.
Thank you.
I think that's wonderful.
Thank you.
Don't you guys think that's wonderful? Of course you do. Of course you do. So, criminal justice. So, like, to me, I connect dots. So I think, okay, here it is. We have this little girl whose mother is on drugs and sells drugs. She gets incarcerated. It has an effect on the little girl. When this little girl becomes older, she goes into criminal justice because she witnessed what happened in her life, with her mother firsthand. And not to punish people, but to actually help people.
Right.
Like your mom.
Right. Absolutely.
And that's beautiful.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
beautiful.
You so much.
I definitely gotta clap that up.
Thank you.
Definitely gotta clap that up.
Thank you.
So, once again, family, like I said, I would like to thank Kymesia for coming through and just giving us the truth, her truth.
Yeah.
Once again, comment, subscribe, like, share if you want. We definitely appreciate it. This is Feel Free, and we signing off. Peace.